This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
So first things first, we need to address the elephant in the room. Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in the league, right? I mean, like, obviously he's not. But do you need to see anything else to be convinced that maybe you were too harsh on him?
I think what you've got going on in LA right now is a very good quarterback with a guy who is a very good play caller. It's insane.
Okay. I'm sorry, we didn't plan this topic, but we need to do a couple minutes on it, and you know we need to do a couple minutes on it.
Okay.
This is not necessarily just to you, though I think you fit in this category. I've seen a lot of people doing this on Twitter. Yes, Matthew Stafford is being made better by his coach. Wholeheartedly agree. But
he's got some good wide receivers too.
By the guys around him.
Yes,
I'm not here to argue against that. My problem is the Stafford haters for years and years and years argued that he was not being held back by pieces around him. And I think that has already been proven. They wouldn't let you use coaches as an excuse. They would point to the fact that he had Calvin Johnson. They wouldn't let you point out that the offensive line was bad. They wouldn't let you point out that the running game was bad. And what I am saying is, if you won't let me do those things to defend Matthew Stafford, you cannot do the opposite to bring him down. The point that was always here for me with Matthew Stafford was he's a damn good quarterback who was being failed by the pieces around him, and I think that's already being proven in LA. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not top 5. He might not even be top 10 at this point in his career. All I'm trying to say is you can very clearly win with Matt Stafford. I think it's very clear if he was in a good situation, that bullshit statistic about his record against winning teams wouldn't exist.
Can we find some common ground here? Because I agree with you. Like if you can't have it both ways, right? If you're gonna use all those things
what
against
I'm calling
him,
out.
Right. If you're gonna use those things against him, you have to be able to use those things for him now. Has he really looked special to you though? Like he looks. No, I'm just asking. No, I'm asking. I'm not trying to start a debate with you here. I'm just asking you a question because you're a huge Matthew Stafford fan. So I just want to know, does he look special to you? Because here's
what I would tell you.
He looks like the same guy to me.
Yes, that's the fucking point. He is the same guy. The whole point I'm making is that he is the same guy in LA that he was here. And the argument or the belief that Stafford was causing problems was always, from day one, fucking absurd. That's the entire point. I'm not telling you he's special. I'm not telling you he was ever special. I'm just telling you he was never and will never be the problem, short of the end of his career when he just doesn't have it anymore. That's all I've ever argued. I don't think like the actual list of people who would tell you Matthew Stafford is a special quarterback is a very small one. He's a very good quarterback and has always been one. No. Nothing looks different. The only thing that's different is he actually has a competent supporting staff. And by the way, I'm not even going to tell you he's going to win a playoff game because I don't think it works. I don't think it's that simple. I think that people want it to be so simple. Like the best quarterbacks win every playoff game. That doesn't work that way. Aaron Rodgers has won Super Bowl and he's a top 5 all-time quarterback unquestionably. Do I think that he's got a better chance than Jared Goff had in LA? Absolutely. But I think he has made it clear and will continue to make it clear that with the right pieces around him, he's going to beat good football teams. Those pieces were just not around him in Detroit.
Have you watched any of the Manning cast for Monday Night Football?
I don't have cable and I can't find an illegal stream, so no.
Okay. I got you. All right. I was thinking because he was part of the Manning cast this past week. They interviewed him and he looks so much more relaxed. Looks so much more comfortable.
It's a lot easier to play football when you got coaches who know what they're doing and right. Good plays.
Right.
Look, I'm not gonna for a second argue that he's not being boosted by the players around him. I just think it's incredibly unfair to use that argument against him when you wouldn't let people defend him with that same stuff. No, he wasn't Patrick Mahomes, but you know what? Patrick Mahomes is 1-2 right now. The offensive line doesn't look great. The weapons outside of Tyreek Hill doesn't look good right now. All of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes is 1-2. What's going on? Oh, it turns out the supporting cast matters. They got blitzed last year by Tampa Bay, absolutely smacked in the face. What happened? Oh, his offensive line wasn't good enough. Like Mahomes is a better quarterback than Matt Stafford, and by a lot, by the way. It's not close. And even then, we see how much it matters. So I just needed to get that out of the way. So I know a lot of Stafford haters are upset that Stafford lovers want to talk about it now. They want us to just move on. which of course they do because they're being proven wrong. I promise you they wouldn't want to move on if he was looking bad in LA right now. But anyways, we'll get to Detroit sports. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in this game. And I believe that this loss was a SOL loss, but not an SOL game. We're going to get into that. Also, we do this kind of segment a lot, but I came across a real problem that seems like it's not a problem, but it affected me pretty significantly the other day. And I don't really know how to tease it better than that. It's not great, but we'll get there. First, Stroz, I'll let you take it away. I know you have a lot to say. I know I don't agree with what you have to say, but we'll get into it.
I'm not sure how I want to get into this either. With this past loss to the Ravens, I feel like the Detroit Lions had this game wrapped up. And I feel like if it wasn't for Dan Campbell, who I've been a huge supporter of, out of the two of us, monster supporter, right?
Yeah.
I love the guy. I think he's
no doubt about it.
A crossbreed between a football coach and a WWE wrestler. Like he's going to come on and he's a mix between Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, and he's going to rub baby oil on himself and tell you, "Oh yeah, brother." So I love Dan Campbell. And I've been a huge supporter of him, and I think a lot of what he's done has been very significant thus far in a very short amount of time. Sunday's loss falls squarely at his feet, and for a couple of reasons, we're going to go to the 4th and 19 though, because I think the biggest mistake he made was calling a timeout. You had Lamar Jackson, you had the Baltimore Ravens basically reeling. You were bringing pressure with 4 guys, and you were getting home. You sacked him twice, and honestly, Lamar Jackson, I'm not even sure what kind of quarterback he is anymore. There was 2 years ago where I thought he was on the verge of being an elite quarterback. Last year, I don't know. Through 3 games this year, he just kind of seems like he's a guy who will throw for 200 yards, maybe rush for 100, and there's going to be some mistakes, and there'll be a couple touchdowns mixed in, and what you get's what you get. Any way you cut it, you had him on the ropes, and he seemed frantic. Like he didn't understand what was going on and what to do. And you call a timeout because, in Dan Campbell's words, you want to get the right defense out there. Mind you, you were getting home with 4 guys. You decide to only rush 3 now, and they're 4th and 19. You drop a guy back. There's a blown coverage. Next thing you know, they're in line to kick this Hail Mary field goal and win the game. If you want to fast forward a little bit, because it's not just at the 4th and 19, and it's not just the timeout that cost this team. It is the fact that Dan Campbell preaches being ultra aggressive. Again, he's this wrestler football coach kind of guy where everything he does is at 110%. Like this man can't just drink regular coffee. He's got to drink 4 Starbucks coffees with 9 espresso shots because he's hyped up all day. Yet you've got the ball on offense and you're near the red zone, and all you want to do is run the ball, forcing Baltimore to use their timeouts. Your play action and your screen passes and getting the ball to a guy like DeAndre Swift was working all day long. Get the first down, milk the clock, kill the game. You have these guys with their back against the wall, and they don't know what to do, whether they took you lightly or whether it's just not a very good Baltimore team. Whatever the case may be, you have them backed up against the wall, and you've got them basically gasping for air. It's now time for you to put your foot on their throat and choke them out. And Dan Campbell let them up off the mat twice. So
here's where I hear you. I don't think like your thoughts are ridiculous, but and you know I'll tell you when I do.
I know you do.
But there are 2 problems. One is that I think you want to make it always, not just this circumstance, but always. I think you always want to make it too simple. I think it's the same thing in general with people who didn't like Stafford. I think it's the same thing in general, like when people want to point the finger at the coach or the quarterback or like just the easy button guy. I think they want to make it too simple. And then 2, kind of related, is you want to make it too black and white. Generally speaking, I'm with you on being aggressive in that circumstance. But I just think that the context there, like, honestly, Stroz, with Stafford at quarterback, I'm on your side 1,000%. It's not even a matter of debate. Even though the guy on the other side, Lamar Jackson, like when you look at the context of who you're going against, I think it's already more reasonable to play for the field goal. Even before you consider who your quarterback is. Then when you add in the fact that your quarterback is not reliable, the last thing I want to do is give Lamar Jackson a timeout. I'm just not okay with giving. Honestly, I'm going to go as far as to say as I agree with the call to run the ball. And That's not the way that I would normally look at that context. I probably want to throw there 90% of the time. I would say if one of two things is different. If either A, I trust your quarterback more, or B, I trust the other team's quarterback more, then yeah, I'm with you. If Aaron Rodgers is on the other side of the field, there's no question about it. Shoot, I might go for it on 4th down. I'm not giving the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. But to Lamar Jackson, in a situation where they had, 26 seconds, I think is what it was. No, that was...
I think it was closer to 40.
Yeah, I think that was when they completed the pass where they had to get down and spike it. Still, say 40 seconds. 40 seconds, no timeout. I'm fine with that. I'm especially, you say that the screen game's been working all game. You know what else has been working? You've been containing Lamar Jackson in that offense. So I actually agree with that call. As far as the timeout in 4th and 19.
But then, hold on, wait. Let me pause for a second. Then why switch up your defense? If you've been able to contain him with 4 guys all day, why go 3? And on top of that,
because the context of the game has changed. That would be my biggest complaint. I have a bigger complaint with not keeping pressure on Lamar, but I just am not going to put the entire game. There was a 66-yard field goal. There was a 4th and 19 converted. That is probably, of these 3 complaints, the one I will agree with you the most. I think in general the idea of not bringing pressure on 3rd or 4th and long. It's a bad mindset, and most of the NFL messes it up. It's the same idea as this, the mismanagement of the clock. It is one thing that the entire NFL seems to get wrong, and I'm with you on that. I would have kept the pressure.
Dan Campbell can't have it both ways. You can't start your opening press conference talking about how you're going to be this aggressive guy.
You take too much out of that stuff, man.
Well, but here's the thing. This is a guy who every single week talks about how he wants to be aggressive, how he wants to do this.
Do you want him to be aggressive?
This is a season where you're not playing for anything.
But do you want him to be aggressive to the extent of ignoring the other team? Because that just seems negligent.
No, I don't want him to. I don't want him to be negligent.
Let's get to the timeout. Because I don't like just giving the Lamar didn't know what was going on. He was frazzled. I don't love that. And again, generally speaking, these are 2 circumstances where I'm normally on your side. I think you're just putting too much into it. Generally speaking, I don't love calling a timeout for the other team. But if you believe you are the better team, I think this is a good rule. If you believe in this one-on-one battle, you are better suited to win, then I want the timeout. I want both sides at maximum quality. If you believe you are the underdog, different story. Let's try and take advantage of the lack of time. Because of the way the game had been played and because of the fact that it was a 4th and 19. By the way, statistically speaking, 4th and 15 is converted in the NFL at about 16%. I couldn't find a number for 4th and 19. 16% for 4th and 15. So you're saying league-wide, there's about a 16% chance that you're going to get this. Minimum or maximum. And I'm saying I don't trust your quarterback, and we've been shutting him down all day. I'm not going to kill him or praise him for taking a timeout. Or I think that is – I'm okay with the call. Because now, if you want to say, how do you call a timeout and have your cornerback blow coverage, that's a little bit more of a conversation I'm willing to have. It's to me, that's like failing to get 11 guys on the field. You call a timeout and you still didn't have things communicated.
Here's the thing. That's part of it, though, because you've got undrafted free agents that are playing in your secondary, which has been abysmal all year. On top of that, out of all of your positions, right, out of all of your rostered positions, your secondary is probably the worst on your team.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. But they've been shutting the offense down. Admittedly, there was at least a dropped touchdown.
There were multiple blow-ups by this defense. You had a guy who was wide open in the end zone who caught a touchdown. If Marquise Brown could catch a damn ball, because believe me, he hurt my fantasy team this week. If he could catch a damn ball, he had been running for at least 3 touchdowns of more than 30 yards. But he had the drops. So your secondary didn't look good. So the fact that you want to drop, I guess I get why you want to drop a guy back, but
that is the one thing I will say on your side. Here's the thing. I'm not sitting here telling you that we need to praise Dan Campbell. I just think that I think you're overreacting to a game that I will get to this in the second half. I don't think they belonged in. And I'm not just saying because of drops. I'm saying I don't think Stroz, outside of the offensive line, and I guess maybe tight end, is there another position where you would rather be the Lions? Because I don't think there is.
No.
I don't think there is. They were outmatched at every position, essentially. I don't think they should have been in that game. So
I think there is some good that came out of this game. We could probably get into that the second half.
But the point I'm making is the way you worded it in our rundown, I'm laying the loss entirely at the feet of Dan Campbell.
Yes.
Did he have some questionable calls? Sure. I don't again, I'll agree with you. Lockstep on only rushing 3. I just think that it's an overreaction to the situation given the context. That's not, and admittedly, I think some of that is because you were so all in on him, and like you weren't ready, to see his first. I don't even want to say failures, but like debatable calls.
Well, here's the thing. I think he's had a couple situations where you could kind of question him. And look, I know there's going to be growing pains with this guy. Like, I get it. He's like, really and truly, this is his first go round as a head coach. This is his first go round making all the calls as far as personnel goes. This was a game where I don't think either one of us expected this team to be in it. I don't even think the Lions expected themselves to be in it. And to get to the point where you're basically up with 40 seconds left and you've got this team backs against the wall, 4th and 19, and they're nowhere close to the red zone. Nowhere close to, if you have just a normal kicker, you're nowhere close to him being able to dial it up and just even attempt that. Most of the time, that's going to be a Hail Mary pass. Yet, you kind of let your foot up off the gas. And that's my big issue. This is a guy who is built on go, 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 go. And he let up at a time where he probably should have pushed harder.
And I do want to move on from this. I think we've gotten most of it on the table. The only problem I have with you drawing back to his go, 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 and he let his foot off the gas, like, look, I would take 17 games. I would take 17 games of Dan Campbell playing for the other team to kick a 66-yarder to win the Look,
I get that not the situations and the games are going to kind of dictate how you're going to coach. I understand that.
I just think this is like the pinnacle of it. I can't imagine a better opportunity to play conservative.
I don't know. It just you've played sports. I've played sports. Generally, when you have a team where all the momentum has shifted and it's coming down to basically crunch time, they have no timeouts. They've got nothing they can really do.
When the Lions gave the ball back,
going.
When the Lions gave the ball back, I expected them to win. If they gave the ball back with the timeout, I would not have expected them to win.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was pretty pissed that they did not attempt the first down, that they just kind of ran, settled for the field goal. I thought too. I was like, you're giving them too much time. Like, there's just too much time.
You're respecting Lamar Jackson too much.
I respect John Harbaugh too much.
We might have
this
conversation
that much. I respect John Harbaugh that much.
We might have this conversation 10 more times this year, and I might agree with you on every single one. I just don't believe that, like, in this circumstance, the best thing you could do was put the ball in the hands of the other team. And generally speaking, that's not going to be true. But this time it was. But we'll get back into the Lions a little bit later on. Again, I think this was a SOL loss, but not a SOL game. But first, so this week, I don't know if you've ever had this happen. It's happened to me a couple times, but out of nowhere, my phone said no SIM card. And when that happens, your phone kind of becomes not useless, but like you can't make phone calls.
Just a block.
Well, thankfully, because of Wi-Fi, you can still text other people with iPhones.
Oh, so you have an iPhone, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not a Neanderthal. And
I am.
You can search the internet and all that. You can do a lot of stuff as long as you're on Wi-Fi. But that happened, what's today, Wednesday? So it happened Monday night. And my plan was to go to like Verizon and the Apple store after work on Monday and have them figure out if it was A, a SIM card issue, or B, an iPhone issue. Because I went through all the like troubleshooting steps and couldn't get it to fix itself. I've had it happen before and fixed itself just fine. So it's either a SIM card issue or a phone issue. And like I'm preparing to buy a phone if needed. Like my phone is like too essential to my work life. So like I literally am planning to like get this phone replaced like right away if necessary. And as I'm like going through the process, I go, you know what? I kind of need a new phone anyways. And the reason like I bring the story up anyways, ultimately was a SIM card issue, got the SIM card replaced. I was fine. But in doing this, I realized how bad I needed a new phone. And the thing is, I can't tell you how many times in my life I've had people tell me, you need a new this, you need a new that. Like, And my answer is always why? Like, why do I need it? I'm getting by just fine. But like, here's the thing, Stroz, and this is not hyperbole. I'm charging my phone minimal 3 to 4 times a day. The answer to why, though, is because my phone is dying. This phone, I do need to replace this phone. And it's funny because without this incident, if you told me I needed to replace my phone, I'd be like, why? I'm getting by. Like, what more do I need of it? It texts, it calls, it searches the internet. Like, why do I need a new phone? Well, because if I forget to take my phone charger into work, I don't have the phone numbers I need to call the guest. Like, my phone may as well be a wired phone at this point. Like, I literally do not go anywhere without my phone charger. If I'm going to be gone for an hour, I will not leave without my phone charger.
Do you foresee yourself getting a new phone anytime soon?
So here's the thing. I had already I have a friend at Apple, so I was like planning on having him purchase one with a discount. And like before I even found out if it was a SIM card issue, I was like, you know what? Like this was kind of opened my eyes and made me go, yeah, no, like I do need a new phone. But luckily, I actually have a really good friend who happened to have an extra iPhone 11 laying around. I'm on the 8.
Aren't they on like 13 now?
Yes. My iPhone. So my first iPhone was a 4S. I then got a 6. I then got an 8, and I've been on the 8 for a little over 4 years. And most smartphones, are designed to last about 2 to 3 years.
2 years, yeah.
He's sending me his 11, which is still, going to be an upgrade for me, and it's not going to cost me $500. That I was going to buy an 11, and it would have cost me like $500. So thankfully, I'm not going to have to spend the money on it. But like, I just started realizing why though? Is my answer to like upgrading or improving anything in my life? And I'm talking like things. And I feel like maybe that's because of like living really broke for the last 5 years, at least partially. I will say with the phone, I remember a time when I was like, why the hell would I get a smartphone? And don't get me wrong, like there's no debate. Like the smartphone is a necessity to me at this point in my life. But I think because of that, I look at it and say, what's the difference between an 8 and a 13? Like it provides more than I need as an 8. But like for example, this shirt I'm wearing right now is about 6 years old. This is a pretty new shirt in my wardrobe. My dad regularly tells me I need to get a new car, and I regularly say, why? Like, it's funny, Stroz. I'm being completely serious about this. I can't understand why you would buy a new car before your current one breaks down. I like it doesn't make sense in my mind. I used my first one until something went wrong that would be more expensive to fix than the car was worth. Mm-hmm. And I don't really see why would I ever do anything different with this one. I have some cosmetic issues that I've had with this car since I got it, probably about 3-4 years ago at this point. I crashed into a pile of ice my first time driving it, and like the front end is ugly as shit. Why would I fix that? Like why though?
So here's the thing. I think the answer to your question is it's what you value. So you don't value that lamp that you have in your living room, right?
What are you talking about? Don't you see it's got new light?
Yeah, I don't. I see the Shang-Chi Master of the Rings background.
It doesn't. I might be hiding that. In fact, I feel like it makes my face look brighter.
So like you don't value that, but you do value your computer. And recently you made monster upgrades to your computer.
I mean, I have a computer. I didn't have one.
And that costed a little bit of money. And you value your Xbox. You remember when there is no lamp. You remember when your Xbox kind of freaked out?
Yeah, I'm on Xbox 3 in the last like year and a half.
Yeah. And
but that's different because I'm replacing something. Like if my phone just totally stopped working, I would get a new phone.
You're right. But what I'm trying to tell you is
I don't have the new Xbox. I have the old Xbox.
Right. You are
a piece of shit.
No. What? Furthest thing from it. You're just the guy who you value what you got, and what you got is what you have, and it's okay. It's good enough for you.
I just spend all my extra money on food and would like to keep it that way.
Right. So like
I don't want to take money out of my pizza budget to buy a new phone.
Like, so you brought up the t-shirt that you're wearing, right? It's like 6 years old. I can't tell you the last time I bought myself some clothes. And if I do buy myself some clothes, I buy them from Costco. Like I don't I don't go spend a lot of money on clothes. I just don't do it. Every now and then I will splurge, and I might buy a suit if I need a new suit for something. But I have to have something going on where I'm like, I need this. I have to get this. This is annoying. But otherwise, I'm not spending any money on any clothing. Like my mom bought me socks for my birthday, and they were like socks from a flea market. But they're like knockoff Adidas socks, and I wear those every day to work, and they're great.
I'm not saying that the general idea is a problem, but I think that I am in too far of an extreme. Like I
would you not agree though that you live your life in extremes?
Yeah, but is that a good thing?
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy because I am nothing but extremes.
So, sometimes I don't love these these like middle topics because I don't know where we're gonna find the great stuff in them.
Oh, bro, this is the whole thing. I was telling Alyssa this. She was like, "What's your middle topic?" And I told her, and I was like, "I don't know if this is gonna be great or not, but we'll make it good because
the reason I brought it up is I got something here. I know where I'm going, Stroz.
It's all about the journey.
This is where we have a problem, and I don't know if this is a problem of self-worth or what this is. But so I have, and I've worn it while recording this before. You've probably seen it. I have I think it's a Justin Verlander jersey shirt that I won't wear out. I'll wear it only around the house. But it's got holes all over the place. It's a disaster. It needs to be thrown out. And I don't think there's necessarily wrong with that around the house, though I don't think it's necessary. I have enough clothes that I don't need to keep that. But there was I don't want to say it was a conversation. I don't really remember the details super closely. But like when I was with my ex, I remember her like very casually mentioning that she didn't love that I would wear shirts with holes out because I did. And the thing is, Stroz, I stopped because I knew she didn't like it and I just kind of carried that on. I still don't fucking care. Like if I'm in a pinch and I haven't done laundry, I won't wear that one. Like that one's a disaster. But, like I'll wear a shirt with a hole out in it because I don't fucking care. And that's to me, that is a problem. I'll wear a shirt with a hole in it to work.
You're definitely not trendy, and you might be a hobo.
I won't do it regularly, but like I won't do it regularly because like I know that that's what's expected. Like you're not supposed to wear a hole with a shirt or a shirt with a hole in it. A hole with a shirt would describe the Verlander jersey shirt. But
the disdain in your voice when you said that because you're not supposed to wear it.
No, but like it's true because I don't care. That's the problem. I want to care,
but you don't.
And like that's I just wanted to go there because it's a more personal story. Mm-hmm. But like I think there was a problem with the phone thing too, right? Like it's absurd that I can't. I charged my phone, Stroz. I took it off a charger at 7:30. It is at 42%. Well, 7:30 my time, so it's been an hour.
Been an hour, yeah.
It's at 42%.
Wow. It's time for you to replace that, B.
Yeah. and like in this situation, it took something to like show me that
go wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know where else to go with it.
I know. I get it. Like I get it. It is. Now
I will say this: if I had like $1 million, I would love to replace my wardrobe. It's just I don't have extra money laying around, and I mean I'm not even exaggerating. I probably would come out of my food budget. That's not even me making a joke.
And that makes you sad.
I don't really know that I have like. There are probably only two places I have money that I could cut out of my budget. One is food, and two is gambling.
You're not going to do either one of those.
And gambling is an investment. Your financial advisor might not tell you that, but I will.
Gambling is an investment, he says. How are you doing, by the way, with all your gambling?
I mean, that's a big question. That's a very broad question, Stroz. I play
Are
daily
you up or are
fantasy.
you down, B?
In what?
You play a lot.
In which investment? I mean, I'm down like
investment.
I'm down like $200.
Like their stocks or bonds.
Well, I'm down like $200 in Clove stock, which I would consider an investment, or I would consider gambling because it's like I bought like 40 shares at like $12. So I'm down like $200 there. I think since I started playing poker, I'm down maybe $200. And I mean that's probably over the course of 3 or 4 months. Daily fantasy, I think I'm probably still positive, but not by a lot because I won the 150 and I think I pulled almost all of that out. And I think I've uploaded or like reloaded like $100 since. So, I mean, like if I had to guess, what is it? It's September 29th as we record this. If I had to guess on the year between all of my gambling, I'm probably down $200, $300 maybe. Well, if you include Clove, probably like $400 or $500.
So not enough to buy that new phone that you need.
I'm probably about exactly as much as I need to buy the new phone.
So see, it's all about your priorities, B.
Stop it. You got to let me finish. There's a big but here. But those are investments. I still have 30 best ball leagues. We don't know how much I'm going to make out of those. I still have
30 best ball.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I got a friend who's got 60. It's not as much as you think. There are people who draft hundreds. I still got 40 shares of Clove. We don't know what's going to happen to that. Maybe they go bankrupt. Maybe they're the next Amazon. Like you don't know. So I'm probably down about $500 on the year. I am including my 40 shares of Clover in that what I'm down there. So like, and I'm also including the $100 of buy-ins in best ball. So I'm down. In reality, I'm probably down about 300 with about 200 outstanding. If that sounds reasonable to you,
it makes sense. Absolutely amazing. See, and when you boil it all down, B, it's what you prioritize, and you prioritize the things that add value to your life. Now, your phone does add value.
No. See, let's really ask that question though. Does gambling add more value to my life than wearing clothes that don't have holes in them?
I think in your case, the gambling does add more value. It makes you more interested in what you love. You love sports, right?
Sure, but I also love people, and they probably look at me weird when I have holes.
But who the hell cares? Let them look at you weird. You've got $100 invested in best ball games that are keeping you glued to your TV set all weekend long. So screw them.
I don't know. I've said it before on the show, and I think it's the truth. I think I walk a very, very, very tight line on healthy gambling. I probably at times cross over it and am gambling more than I can actually afford to lose. And I think when I do, I really reel myself in. Like I haven't played poker in probably a month. Because I'm playing more daily fantasy and I recognize that I need to be able to lose the money there instead. Mm-hmm. But again, to just keep trying to find the personal aspects of this, a friend was telling me something he really wants me to read the other day. And this is so unrelated, but it's the truth. Another problem I have. That's what I've turned this into. Problems Brendan has. I've joked about my lack of attention span. And I was telling him, like, dude, like, I can't read. I was reading a book about racism that I was like really like into. I was like really felt like I was learning, and like I was really happy to be reading it. But like I just can't keep my attention on it. And this is like a genuine, literal thing I will do, Stroz. I will lay down on my couch, have Netflix on one TV, have Twitch on my phone, and be playing chess on my phone at the same time.
It's cool. I get in trouble for the same stuff. Alyssa gets mad at me because I will have a YouTube video going on my computer. I will have the TV on in the background, and I will be playing a game on my phone.
But it's not background. That's the thing. I mean, obviously, I'm not watching. I can't do it all closely at the same time. But like, yeah. I am actively trying to because I can't be bored for a second.
Yeah, you got ADD, bro. It's cool. It's what it is, man. Have you? Did you ever? I meant to ask you this. Did you ever finish Gladiator or no?
No, I didn't even start it again.
So last week, B was watching Gladiator.
I said, did we talk about that on the show?
And he hated it.
So I watched the first 45 minutes because I've been begged for years to watch it. And 45 minutes in, I had to stop to record, and I just can't get myself to go back to it. It was horrible.
Absolutely hated Gladiator.
I
was curious if you finished.
I love telling people about the fact that I read 6.5 books of Harry Potter and stopped in the middle of book 7. The fact that I watched 45 minutes of Gladiator will now be...
Wait, hold on. Why did you stop in the middle of book 7?
So, I mean this genuinely. I felt like I grew up with those characters. They felt like personal friends. I don't think I could have... Like, we talk about how I'll never like football the same when Matt Stafford retires. Mm-hmm. I will never love characters the way that I loved Harry, Ron, and Hermione. They were my friends.
I get that.
Other way to describe that. And for a large portion, if I had to guess, it's probably 300 to 400 pages of the 7th book. Those 3 are fighting because of the Horcrux. And I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't entertaining for me to read about my friends, like genuinely my close friends is what they felt like. It wasn't entertaining for me to read about that. Like I just couldn't, like I tried to power through. And eventually it was just like, I don't want to open the book because my friends are fighting. And that's all that I got when I opened the book. There was really nothing of value that came when I opened the book.
Did you watch the movies at all or no?
Yeah, I enjoyed the seventh movie.
Okay.
I mean, I think that like it moves faster, right? Like a 2.5 hour. Well, I guess it was technically 2 movies, so it's probably even a 5-hour movie like still moves quicker than 400 pages of a book.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I also like grew up in between, right? And I don't know. It didn't feel like if I remember correctly, watching the movie, it felt like 10 or 15 minutes of fighting versus 400 pages.
Right.
I went on a date one time. I've talked about this. The very first date I went on after my breakup, where like it went really well. It was a lot of fun. I just wasn't like physically attracted to her, but there was definitely chemistry. Where I mentioned to her that I read 6.5 books of Harry Potter, and she told me it was her new life goal to make me finish the 7th book.
She's gonna die. Very, very sad.
Yeah, I would say that's probably accurate. All right, we had our fun. Now back to the Lions. I gotta tell you, I don't know how you come out of that game and like the key takeaways you have are frustration. Like, I guess I get it if you're somebody who's been rooting hard for them to win this year. And I got to admit something. In that last drive, when Baltimore got the ball back, I found myself in this place of apathy for a different reason. Because I was like, well, you know, if you win against Baltimore, who you shouldn't be, I don't know. Clearly, you're better than I thought. And maybe you sneak into playoff contention. But on the other side, I obviously don't think they're good enough to be a playoff team. Mm-hmm. And so beating a team like Baltimore, because look, I will say this, they're not a bottom 2 team. The Jets and the Jags are the worst 2 teams in the league. I still think they compete for everybody else after that. I think they're in the same class as the Giants, the Falcons. I can't really think of anybody else off the top of my head, the Texans. But stealing a game like that is how you go from pick 4 or 5 to pick 9 or 10. They're going to win some games, and you're going to get mad when they do, and I won't because I just accept that they're going to win some games. But winning a game against the Ravens really fucks you up.
I really wanted them to win that game. I wanted them to win that game for a couple of different reasons, right? They could probably lose every other game the rest of the season, but I really wanted them to win that game because I've seen a lot of good things through 3 games, and you know as well as I do, the losing starts to kind of take its toll. And I feel like it's important at some point for Dan Campbell to get that first win just to kind of help solidify that locker room and just they've already bought into him, but you need them to not lose faith in him.
See, I guess I'm not really concerned about that, especially not yet. And the point that I was trying to make here, the loss was very SOL. To give a team the ball back with 40 seconds and lose on a 66-yard field goal, SOL as hell.
But, hold on. Wait, you forgot something else, too. For the play clock to run out and for the flag to not get thrown on it, and it wasn't 1, 2, it was almost 3 seconds that it was a delay, and there was no flag. Yeah, this was one of the most SOL.
I just watched that game, and what I saw was a team that was inferior at every position, and I actively try not to go over the top with these narratives because I do think they're overblown, and I think it still is overblown. But this team fights, and I mean, to watch them start to come back against San Francisco, even in prevent defense, to watch them give a really good half to the Packers, to watch them stay tight with the Ravens, I don't think that they're going to embarrass themselves this year. There could maybe be an argument to be made they embarrassed themselves against the 49ers, how much they fell back in the beginning, but I just don't feel that way. I thought last year the way they lost to the Texans on Thanksgiving was embarrassing. I really don't think that they're going to have that kind of a loss this year. And I'm still very skeptical of Dan Campbell. I don't know how much rah-rah can do for you because I do think this is an overblown narrative. But at the end of the day, whether it's that they fight or it's the scheming or whatever it is, I have no doubts about it that this team is overperforming their talent level. Whatever the reason is, they are overperforming their talent level. And so while I'm not going to celebrate that, I do think through 3 games as a whole, I feel positive about what I've seen.
I would agree with you. And I think a pretty good example of what you're talking about is what took place in this game. You had a lot of young guys up front who were applying pressure to a really good quarterback, right? Like, I'm not sure how you feel about Lamar Jackson, but the consensus around the league is he's a pretty good quarterback. He's at least a lethal quarterback when he gets loose and can run. They did a great job of containing him all game long. You had a young linebacking core actually making plays. You know, there was a reason that Jamie Collins just got released. There was a reason that
Which I like, by the way.
I like that too. There was a reason that he was basically pulled off the field, and they basically said, "No, you can just go ahead and sit." And they worked in the young talent, and those guys showed up. They made plays. They hit people. They made stops. So I think there's a lot of good that you can take out of these losses. And my big concern, like I said before, is at some point, all the good that we're kind of seeing, right? Like, they played good in a half against San Francisco. They played good in a half against Green Bay. They didn't really score in the first half against Baltimore, but that second half, they kind of played lights out, and they were in position to win that game. After a while, those things are going to kind of start to take their toll. And that's my concern and my big worry.
So young. And I know that teams don't believe that they suck, but I do think there is a sense of reality. I do think that when you have a young, hungry team with a coach like this, if they go 0-17, sure. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to win more games than they should.
Do you think they win this week against Chicago?
Absolutely. I believe firmly that they win this week against Chicago.
I think they have a really good shot.
I don't even know how to feel about it because I got to be honest with you. We talked about this preseason. I do want to see them get a high draft pick, and to an extent, I'm rooting for that. But them not beating Chicago would be a little concerning. It would make me second guess what I've seen through 3 weeks. I think Chicago is a really bad football team. Now, you're on the road, so you get a little bit of leeway there. But Chicago looks like a bad football team. And the way that if they play up the way they have these last 3 weeks, I'm going to be honest, I think they could stomp Chicago. And it's not because I think that they're that good. It's just because the way the team's played, if what we're saying is true, and this is a really good test for that, if they truly are playing above their talent level, like I believe, and you believe as well, right?
Yeah.
That this week
they're playing above their talent level for sure.
They do it convincingly. That doesn't mean by 10, but it means that it doesn't require a last-second comeback. It is they are in the game, and you feel like they're in control for a large portion of it. I'm not saying they never trail. I'm not saying they win by 10. I'm just saying the whole game you feel like the Lions are the better team because you can be losing and feel like you're the better team. If that's true, if they're overperforming their talent level, they will look like the better team in this game, and they will win this game.
Yeah, I think they go into Chicago, and I think they have a shot to win. And I think you're right. I think for the most part, this team is playing above its talent level. I don't know maybe it's the Jets, maybe it's the Jags. The Lions are right there, though, with those teams as having some of the least talent on their roster. And this was something that really shocked me with the preseason. I'm blown away at how low the floor really was. And to see this team come out and compete in these games, it's surprising, and I think it's a good sign for this coaching staff. But,
by the way, the running game and the running backs have looked good.
Mm-hmm.
But we may need to reconsider the idea that Jamal Williams is the best running back on the team.
Oh yeah,
I still really like Jamal Williams, but DeAndre Swift looked really good this last week.
Yeah. My concern with DeAndre Swift is, can he stay healthy? It always seems like there's something.
Yeah, he's
always
back.
nicked up.
That is my concern with running backs as well. Saquon Barkley, I wonder if he could stay healthy. Christian McCaffrey, I wonder if he could stay healthy. Dalvin Cook, I wonder if he could stay healthy. Derrick Henry is a monster. I would be willing to bet before his career is over, we start saying, can he stay healthy? Because that's just the way running backs work. Some of them, it starts younger, but that's just the position. But yeah, I mean, DeAndre Swift has looked really good. The running game has looked good. The pseudo running game, the passing to the running backs. The running back duo might account for the second and third most receiving yards on the team before it's all said and done.
Let me ask you this question since we're here. We're talking about DeAndre Swift. Would you trade in fantasy? Would you trade Travis Kelce for DeAndre Swift?
Okay, so my biggest issue anytime anyone asks me a fantasy question is that it's not that fucking simple. There's so much context to be taken into this. Like, I'm 0-3 in my main fantasy league, and I just made like 4 trades. I went crazy because there's shit that needed to change for my team. I made trades where I thought I was taking less value. In a vacuum where like both players start or both teams start one player, I'd much rather have Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is he's a top first-round talent. He's a top 5 wide receiver, and he plays tight end where there's like 4 guys who are worth anything. Right. But if you have one of those guys, like, no. Like, if you have a Kittle, a Waller, honestly, a Hawkinson, and I'd even say an Andrews, no. And then if you have like the next tier, then it gets even more complicated. If you have like a Higbee, if you have like even a Kyle Pitts, like it's so fucking complicated, dude. Like, what's your running back depth look like? If you trade DeAndre Swift, is your starter Chase Edmonds or is your starter Trey Sermon? Like, and it's just like fantasy football is not that simple. You just want everything in life to be so simple, and it's not.
I was just asking your opinion. Back up, calm down. It's okay. I was trying to.
And I'm telling you, you can't. You weren't just asking my opinion.
I was trying to.
Like, it's not like, do you prefer grape jelly or strawberry jelly? It's not that simple.
I was trying to steal DeAndre Swift from a guy, but he wants Kelce, and I don't really want to give up Kelce.
Like,
so
you thought it was, do you want strawberry jelly or grape jelly? And it was really like which doctor do you want to perform your surgery? Like, there's a lot of factors that are involved.
There's a whole lot that's involved. I get it. I was just trying to see where you stood on it. That's all. And that's where you stand. So it's okay. We're good.
Yeah. My in a vacuum answer is probably, but I would need so much more information. See, I love being the fantasy guy that people come to, and it happens a lot. But like, my answer, I cannot tell you. If I just searched, I need more context, like on my messages search, you'd probably just see like the last 5 people who asked me for fantasy advice.
I get it. Like, I do. Believe me, I understand. And I know it takes quite a bit. So like, I'm not gonna take up the last little bit of our show to talk about my fantasy team.
No, I wouldn't let you.
Yeah, that's not good. Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
Everyone cares about my fantasy team. They don't care about yours. I don't think we have anything else. React to Chicago next week. I like I said, I think it will be a real test for whether or not what we believe we've seen through 3 games is true. And there's been a lot on Lions Twitter discourse I've seen recently about people being too positive or too negative. I don't think I'm anything. I think I'm very, very even keel on this Lions season, this Lions regime so far. But my opinion could be swayed very strongly one direction or the other based on what I see this week.
I'm trying to take everything into account when I watch these games, right? So I try not to get too high. I try not to get too low. And I know you probably don't believe that. But I tried to watch this through a lens of we knew what we had going into the season. Well, like, look, we knew this team was going to be garbage, right? Like, we didn't think this was going to be a team that won a ton of games. We knew what we had as far as a quarterback. We knew what we had as far as wide receivers. We knew what we had as far as defense. You knew what you had. So them going out and losing games, I'm not on this show freaking out about it. I was upset that what Dan Campbell did in this particular game because I felt like he cost his team. But otherwise, I'm kind of in lockstep with you where there's a lot of good to take out of what you're seeing in these losses. I
think the simplest way, and we'll wrap here, I think the simplest way to put it for me and where I stand is I believe today that this team will win more games than I thought they would 3 weeks ago before the season started. And then the next question becomes why. It's not because the talent is better than I thought. So that's a good thing. It is a good thing.
That Dan Campbell train.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not sold by any means.
Come on, baby. Hulkamania. It's running wild.
It puts me in a net positive result. I am net positive about this regime as a whole, including the coaching staff, to this point. Lots of time to change that. And like I said, I think this next week will have me leaning a little bit stronger one way or the other than I do right now. I think it will move me more than